speakers, so I'm sure you will enjoy. We have something on knitting, something on 3D woven fabrics, and the supplier selection, and wearable electronics. So they're all integral part of the information technology as well as textile. So without spending too much time, I'd like to introduce the first speaker. Oh, by the way, each person is allotted 15 minutes. So if you can finish 15 minutes, within 15 minutes, it will be wonderful. So that you can spare a few minutes for questioning and answering. I think the presentation, you can go on for 10 days, but that's not what we are called for. Just to introduce a topic and what you have done, and then let the audience interact with you. The first speaker is Dr. Alberto Miguel. He's coming from Portugal. He has a long resume and qualification, but he has experience in the wool industry, and he also graduated from University of Fibre in the field of fabric technology. And he became the professor there in 1992, so he has been teaching for about 10 years. He has an interesting career. He's in charge of the textile and garment design section, and also he's consulting for Air Force in Portugal. So, Dr. Miguel. Actually, you know, this light bothers everybody because it defeats the purpose. Can you turn this light off? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. My publication is about computer simulation of statistical evaluation and optimization of woolen blended fabrics quality. As we know, fabrics must answer to several wear demands, such as good behavior, including garment making, protection, comfort, durability, and aesthetic requirements. Concerning these functions, the fabric performance is the function of its technical construction and defines its quality. This performance is evaluated through the fabric behavior relative to wear properties. To evaluate the quality level of their products, fabric manufacturers follow the recommendation of textile specialized institutions such as the Ulster Company and the European Association of Garment Industries without knowing its rank among concurrent products. When improving the fabric performance in respect to a given wear property, the same manufacturers do it in an empirical manner, changing one or more structural characteristics, not always reaching the best results for all properties. In this way, to improve the fabric's quality, it is required to control their wear properties relating them with the structural characteristics. When this study is intended to emphasize the variables which must influence in each of those properties, with the objective to give the necessary tools to improve the fabric project in order to evaluate the influence on the several properties from any structural change. This is if one wishes to change one or more structural characteristics due to the market demands or application requisite, means must exist to evaluate possible changes caused to the properties that must influence the behavior to wear. When studying these properties, it is intended to define the level of values, percentage values between which the analyzed fabrics fall, in order to develop a methodology enabling to determine the rank of any fabric respecting the quality. Considering the fast system is important to and easy to determine parameters to evaluate fabric handle, as well as the fabric behavior during cloth manufacturing and wear. They have been included in the set of properties to be studied. In the same way as Ulster Statistics for yarns, it seems to be important to us to know the relative position of a fabric in what concerns its quality respecting to the generality of similar commercial fabrics. Thus, during the fabric project stage, based on the knowledge of the interdependence between structural characteristics and behavior properties, it is important to optimize by simulation the overall performance of fabrics, always taking into account the manufacturing costs. Since that for the study of this subject, multiple factors have to be taken into account, some presenting a reverse effect. It is desirable to develop a computer application for a quick and accurate answer. In this way, conditions have been created to give form to a practical application with industrial interest based on a research work. A set of 82 wool and blended fabrics has been studied, from these 51 being worst, taken as a representative of the majority of wool commercial fabrics. Considering these fabrics having different fiber composition, weight per unit, area, yarn type, cover factor, and so on. The study was directed to the evaluation of fabric wear properties and structural characteristics, some measured by means of laboratorial testing according to standards, and others being calculated from the first ones, and fast parameters being also considered. Now we can see some parameters that are considered. In this table, we can see the evaluated fabric characteristics, units, and test methods. And this table, we can see fabric properties that characterizing behavior to wear of the fabrics. Mechanical properties, comfort properties, and mechanical and performance properties, that the parameters of the fast system. Each wear property was correlated with the studied structural characteristics in order to get statistical models for the properties. Based on the results of this study, percentile tables were built for each fabric wear property. The percentile values for each property for different percentages of studied fabric sample give an overview of the quality of each set of fabrics. According to the set of fabric studied, based on the structural characteristics considered and the statistical treatment used, the regression equation have the highest regression coefficient, and also the highest significance level was found for each case. In order to evaluate the quality level of fabric with respect to the generality of fabrics belonging to the same family, a computer application is being developed that, in a global manner, takes into account all wear properties on the basis of the percentile table. To satisfy the proposed objectives and using the mentioned statistical models, this application will also simulate the best quality level of fabrics by changing the adequate structural characteristics. This optimizing process will always take into consideration the interdependence between structural characteristics and wear properties. The computer application will also be able to detect properties having percentile values below the critical point, as well as drawing percentile plots. On the other side, this application will allow to increase the fabric data base and more accurate results. Here we can see see a table that shows the evaluation of the global quality of fabric using a percentile table. This is the percentile table. Here you can see values of particular fabric, values of the wear properties, and here we can see for these values the percentile values. Now we can see a graphical illustration of the evaluation of global quality of the fabric. So we can see the different wear properties of fabrics. Here the percentile values, and for a particular fabric this is the values of the different wear properties, and in this we have the percentile values. So we can see the global quality of fabric done by the percentile values. Here you can see representation of variables and properties during a simulation to improve the fabric property. This is the equation, the statistical model of a particular property, wear property of the fabric. So the variables, the construction variables of fabric. So you can see the color factor, the fiber diameter, mass per unit length, unit area, and when we can choose another value for these variables, we have a new value for the wear property that we must implement. This is the initial value, and here we have the new values that we can compare. Here we can see all the wear properties and the respective values that we can see the other values that change when we change this, because as we know the wear properties of fabric are not independent. Now we can see the plot of fabric, but the initial plot of the percentile values and the new plot of percentile values that here we can see the improvement of the performance of the fabric. So with this study, conditions have been created to give form to a practical application with industrial interest based on a research work. In the same way as Ulster characteristics for yarns, it seems to be important to us to know the relative position of fabric in what concerns its quality respecting to the generality of similar commercial fabrics. This computer application is an interesting tool to support the project of full fabrics, either because it makes possible to evaluate the global quality of fabric respecting to concurrence, and because it allows to simulate previewing performance for fabrics during wear. The application has the possibility to be adapted to new situations since it allows to update the fabric database. The desirable evolution of the application goes to the inclusion of a cost variable to help in decision making, as well as constant and automatic fit of statistical models every time the fabric database is updated. Another important improvement for this application will be the automatic simulation towards the optimal solution, taking into account a given set of restrictions specified by the user. Thank you for your attention.
Anybody has a question?
Yes, please. Did you derive a certain formula from which we can predict the fabric performance? Just a formula, mathematical formula.
Yes, we have statistical models for each property. I show one equation.
I think it's
Somewhere in the
somewhere. It's too long to read through the equation, so I think we should talk about it.
Yeah, for each where
There's a formula.
for each where property we have an equation based on the structural characteristics of the fabric.
I have a question. You are using computer simulation for optimization, but actually you have to study the tensile behaviors of each component fiber to optimize. Not this program. What's your comment?
We work with the statistical methods.
For example, if you have a very high strength but low extension fiber versus very low strength but the long extension, they're not compatible. It's not statistical, it's just the physics of a blending.
Yeah, but if we note that we have a problem because the elongation of the resistance, we can see the equation and we can choose another values for the variables that influence this equation.
Any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.